My name is Jennifer Doohan. I'm based in Sheffield. I'm originally from Manchester. What I'm doing is running the Adventure Wellness Club amongst millions of other things, it feels like on some days.
When did your running journey begin?
Like I've always maintained a good base level of fitness, but yeah, running is something I sort of like got into via a challenge. I'd say like it was running 50K in January or something like that. And there was a group of people at a cafe in North Manchester. They'd meet there. And I just sort of like started running with a guy called Gary, and I sort of realized, oh, I'm actually all right at this. And it got to the point where I was like, oh, I feel like I need to go for a run now. And I was just doing like 5Ks around the park. So then fast forward to doing an ultra marathon. So I dated a guy who did the Bob Graham round, which is an epic adventure challenge in the Lake District. It's like 8,000 meters of elevation over 66 fells in 24 hours. And I was part of that team and I did one of the legs with him. And I just saw like that you can do whatever you put your mind to. And I'm very much like that anyway. And I remember thinking, well, if he can do it, then I can do it too. And it's not like I've gone and done the Bob Graham round, but I just thought, yeah, I'm capable of that. And sort of more importantly than that, for me at least, was the seeing him break it down and plan it, which is something that I struggle with. So just watching him train and his approach to things, it's like everything seems like too big. It's like go run an ultra marathon. It's overwhelming. It's like that distance, that elevation. But actually, if you break it down, then it becomes a bit easier. And I know that sounds like really simple to say, but just watching him do that, I thought, oh yeah, if you approach it like that, it becomes just a bit more attainable. So I ended up running the ultra marathon basically because there was an event called the Japanese Odyssey, which is a bike ride in Japan. And I'd love to do something like that, but I couldn't afford it and didn't have the time, money, whatever. So then I was like, well, what's the next best thing I can do? So I thought, okay, I'll sign up to this run in Italy, in the region where I used to live. So yeah, I had like a few months to train for it, and I thought, okay, just do it. And I met some people along the way who allowed me to believe it was possible. I.e., one guy I met who is in his 70s. He's a running coach now. He's retired. And he said, Jennifer, you just need to be able to run 30 kilometers. And then the 45 you can do on the day. That's when you start to push, outside of that comfort zone. And I have a friend, I call him Barefoot John because he's a barefoot, he likes barefoot walking, running. He did the Edale skyline with me, which was 30K. And it just that day I taught my body, taught my mind that I can do it. So then I thought, okay, I love mountains. I love going uphill. I know how to use the running poles. And I thought, okay, just those incremental steps. It was like, okay, this is possible. So yeah, that's how I ended up doing it, really. I never thought I would.
I think it's really interesting how you talked about sort of like the planning and just how it can be like really sort of overwhelming, and that then some things can almost seem like logical, like, yeah, of course, just like break it down. And like in my mind, I just think, well, it's just pretty obvious, isn't it? You book it in and then you just work backwards and then you just break it down into sections. And maybe that's something that I've just always done throughout all of my life. It's almost just like it's in there. It makes sense to me. It's just really, really like logical. But actually, sometimes watching somebody else do it and then seeing it when you're close to it, it can like open your eyes to it and just be like, oh, that's how you do it. And so it's just like, it's just another way of learning these skills.
Yeah.
Just going back to that sort of, that planning and that logistics. So this is going to be, a mountain race back in Italy. How did you do it? Do you write things down? Are you to-do lists? Are you Excel spreadsheets? You just keep things in your head? Like, do you have to like visually like I like laying out all my gear like in a different room, in a different space, just so I can look at it and know what I've got. What does that look like for you?
So my ex-boyfriend had a very autistic approach to his planning. So he was very much spreadsheets. I ran at this speed this week. It was very much like that. He was very, very planny. which I looked at and I thought, wow, I wish I had that. I wish I was more like that. But I have the impulsivity and the spontaneity to just go, okay, I'm going to go do an ultramarathon in Italy. I've never done anything like this before. Let's do it. So I guess in terms of the planning, it's like, okay, the booking it in, I have to now do this. Like that's the goal, that's the objective. Like you have to have an objective first and foremost and be determined enough to do it. Because even if you plan, you can be an excellent planner, but you might not be able to execute. And I think lots of people have that kind of block. So I think it's that determination. Like, I'm going to do it in my own way. This might not look like everybody else's way, but I'll get there. So I sort of came up with a rough plan. Like, I need to, do hill reps. I was trying to get to 1,000 meters of elevation, which is, I'm in Sheffield. It's achievable, but it means like a lot of repetition, which I don't really like. I like running in loops and things, not linear. Again, it's like I did it in my own way. Like I think being a woman, you can't have that masculine planning approach to everything because our hormones just don't allow us to have that structure. We have to then react to the energy that our body will give us on any given day or during a particular time of the month. Like I remember it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the event and I was doing some hill reps and I was like, I have no energy for this. I'm doing it, but I just feel so fatigued. I'm meant to be tapering now. Like I'd never done anything like this before. So I was just learning. And I remember kind of internally sort of beating myself up a bit because I was like, I should be doing more. Like, this is not the way things should be done, in this like highly structured planning way. But then I remember thinking and having this moment to reframe it and thinking, well, this is just an enforced taper. Like the time of the month, what your body's telling you right now, just respect it, just listen to it. But you'll laugh at this, Sarah, because the night before the race, I am not kidding. I literally put the GPX route into ChatGPT and said to it, give me a plan, like give me an approach for this. And it did. It spat it back out at me. And it was saying like run harder here, run more steady here. It was giving me little cues. And I took it with me. Yeah, it's brilliant. So I didn't have this like in my head like months prior. Like, I'd recce'd some of the route actually when I was there prior, but yeah, there was not like a whole load of structure to it. So in terms of that going forward, I am putting more of that in with the assistance of a coach now, who's like S&C, and he's given me a 12-week running plan, which I've started just this week, really. So yeah, I'm trying to add more structure in because sometimes it requires an external an external force, as it were, and somebody to be accountable to.
I think it's so interesting because there isn't a right and a wrong. It's what works for you, your body, your mind, your lifestyle of how it fits, and how it fits in. Because honestly, like I reflect back to about like 10 years ago when I was training for like MDS, and I might have said this on another podcast, but I was literally just like, I was also beating myself up because it's like, why can't I follow this training program, which was, just downloaded off the internet. It wasn't given from a coach or anything. And I was literally like, why am I being lazy? And I look back now and I'm thinking, oh my God, Sarah, you were just so mean to yourself. Hormones, like you are dead on your period. Like you can barely function. So actually, by being kind to yourself and just being like, okay, if I'm on my period is like very light, 3 days, boom, done. Now anyway. And I'm thinking, right, if I start training for another race, I'm literally just going to be like, nope. I'm just not going to do anything on those 3 days and just be really, really kind to myself. But it's so focusing in on like, you know, the training plan, I suppose. And, there's obviously that element of like listening to your body, like when is it, actually I need to pull back here, or actually I need to push harder, where are my energy levels? But with regards to your training, how do you fit it in with your life and work? Are you having to get up super early? Are you doing back to backs? Have you joined a run club? What does that look like for you? Like, how do you make the training work for you, your life?
So I'll just add something into the last section like, of the hormones, because I think it's really interesting. So I actually had to run the ultra marathon whilst menstruating. And yeah, that was not fun. Ibuprofen was required, but I did it. And yeah, it just shows you we're so strong, we're so capable. So to answer your question about the training and how I fit it in, it's not like I'm getting up super early to do it. I just try and fit it in. Like there was a period of my life where I was like trying to get up early every day, go to the gym. I did do it for a bit, but then I just thought, "Ugh, I'm trying to be somebody else. I'm trying to work to somebody else's, what works for them. So now I just try to fit it in. So for example, yesterday I went to the gym and ran on the skill mill. It's a curved treadmill. So I ran on there, and then I have a friend who I go out with who he doesn't mind running at night and stuff. So yeah, it's just fitting it in. Sometimes like one of the jobs I do is a cleaning job for my friend, and I run there sometimes, clean, and then I'll run back. So, it is just fitting it in. And now I've got a marketing contract, which is 4 days a week. So I might go in the morning or in the evening. I'm still trying to figure that out a little bit. But now I've got this coach. He's made me a plan. So it's like Monday is my rest day. So there's that bit more structure to it. But at the same time, it's forcing me to work out when I might not want to. Like it's forcing me to find the time, if that makes sense. So it's like having that external motivator is very, very helpful. And I can then communicate with him about my energy and what I did, what I didn't do, and we can adapt it accordingly. This is the first time I've ever had any help to do any sort of planning or anything like that professionally. So yeah, it's like I'm looking forward to how it unfolds really.
I think one of the things that I found as well is, having, like, a purpose to my run. So, I used to, like, have this, like, weekly, like, lunch, and I would actually quite chill. So I would, like, run. It was, like, 4 miles away. So it was, like, I would run to this lunch very slowly, so I wasn't, like, super sweaty and disgusting. Have a very nice, like, lunch and chat with everybody, and then run home. So it sort of combined things together, and it's, like, the same thing, with you running to your cleaning job. It's, like, boom, let's run there, do the cleaning, boom, and then run back. And like somebody else I spoke to many years ago, she was doing some very big distances and big training, and she had a letter to deliver to a friend who lived, like 10 miles away. So she ran the 10 miles to post the letter through her
I love
friend's
that.
door,
Oh
and
God.
then ran back. I think it's that combination of like having a purpose, so there's more like structure. It ticks a lot of boxes in my mind.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're working with a trainer now as well. That's really, really great. But so did you start with the trainer after you'd done your ultra marathon?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm doing a 50K in April. So in Wales. So I just thought, you know what? Like now I've got this marketing contract, I can afford to have some help. And he's a friend and I teach yoga at his facility on a Monday, like my own yoga class. So yeah, I just sort of want to give back to him in a way, but also learn. Because the thing is with the coaching, it's not just somebody telling you what to do. Like we are going to strength train together as well once a week. So it's all of that learning. You're not just paying for somebody to tell you what to do. There's so much else that you will learn, which I love because I love the body and I love MSK sort of, all the exercise related or body stuff. And yeah, it's great. I'm so excited.
Let's go back to Italy with your first ultra race. ChatGPT giving you the info for your race strategy. How did the race go for you? How did that info pan out? Was it what you expected? As in, like your friend who said, as long as you can do your 30K, you're good. You'll be able to just manage the final 15. Like, talk us through the race, some of the challenges, some of the highlights.
So one of the funny moments beforehand, like the night before, I speak Italian, so I bumped into these fellas in Molveno in this little town, and I said to them like, "Where's the emergency number on the bib?" And the guy was like, "Oh, it's here." Pointed. I was like, "Oh right, okay." It was like tiny and upside down. So I was like, "All right, okay, cool." And it turns out they were the broom wagon guys. So I was laughing. I said, "Oh, I hope not to see you tomorrow." Ha ha ha. And then we, went on our ways. Anyway, the next morning, I'm like the only British woman doing this event. It attracts like a lot of Dutch people. So I was nervous, like, of course, but I was sort of in familiar territory as well, if that makes sense, because as I'd lived there and I actually had seen some people as well, like photographers, like at the start, and then I went on to see them on the route, which was quite funny. So my aim was to just get through it, was to just do it. But everybody set off so fast, like, the hype at the beginning of these things.
Mm.
And they all just set off really fast. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I had my little exercise band at the beginning to try and like warm up my glute med because we've all got like muscle stuff going on, instability, weaknesses, like nobody who does this stuff is injury free or perfect. Like, this is one of the things that I've learned as a yoga teacher and just being in like body related professional spheres. It's like, even the people teaching you this stuff are struggling with something. They are not perfect. So I was there warming up, put my little elastic band away, and then started off. But it's like, Jesus, they're all setting off. Like, oh my God, it's like, what? But then I just told myself, I was like, well, Jennifer, you'll catch them on the hills. Like, don't worry. Like, and it's also not about them, it's about you and your own experience. And I just looked around and I just had to bring myself back into the moment, be like, I'm so grateful to be here. So I just plodded on, da 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 da. And then yeah, like just eventually got going, took over people, and I just treated it as a fun day out. Like, I chatted to people in the mountain huts. I stopped, I changed my top so that I wasn't super sweaty, and just took it like steady and just enjoyed it. Yeah. So I just wanted to teach myself that I could do it. That was the sort of the aim of the game. But at the end, actually, it was really interesting because this one guy called Stefano, he kind of, like, have you heard of this concept of road angels? Like, that's from cycling, like, like solo bikepacking and stuff. Like, people will just appear to help you along your journey. And this guy called Stefano at the end, he just sort of like came from nowhere and was so encouraging. He was like, die, die, look at, like, go, go, like, look at how fast you can go. He's like, look at those two guys, let's go get them. And he had me like sprinting towards the end. And I just was, because before that point, I was just like plodding along, just trying to get there, listening to my music the whole way around, just listening to some like cool dance music the whole way around. But this guy at the end, yeah, he was brilliant. He just like swept me up with him and just got me sprinting towards the end. And it made me think, like, yeah, there's so much more in me. You're like digging deep. So yeah, it was really fun. And I would love to do the same event again, actually, but maybe do a better time, not to prove anything to anybody, but just to sort of see how I've improved. Because the next time round, I swear, I packed my bag as if I was going on some like wilderness expedition by myself. I mean, I know it's wise to prepare, but I had like a bloody cheese board in there. It was ridiculous. Like, honestly, I'm surprised I didn't have like one of those little mini bottles of red wine. So I was like, yeah, Jennifer, don't take the cheese board with you next time. There will be food along the route. You can save some weight that way.
But it's all about experience, and I think the key thing is, like, having fun in the mountains, doing something that you enjoy, testing your body, testing your mind, and, you're obviously continuing to push that with your, the 50K in April in Wales. What race is that you're training for?
So it's called She Ultra. It's all for women, and you can do it at your own pace. I don't think there's a cutoff time. So you'll get women who will walk it, run, walk it, and then you'll get some women who are, going to smash it out in whatever a good time for something like that would be, a few hours. So yeah, again, it's just for me the going and doing it. But I think I would definitely like to go into it feeling stronger and more confident. And I don't mean like confident in my own abilities, it's more confident about the physical aspect, like injuries and things like that. So, yeah, I think this is why this strength training and like specific training is going to come in really handy as well.
Are you suffering with many injuries at the moment?
No, it's just I just know that I have, like I mentioned glute med, and that, that's like a back stabilizer, and I can get a bit of knee pain on extended runs. But again, it's all that chain. So one of the the real things I've got to focus on is strengthening glutes. And also, I'm starting to get into plyometrics, which is something that women should start to do as they get older anyway. I learned that it's like the number one bone density builder, which, I'm 39 now, 40 in June. So it's like, yeah, it's like definitely want to start practicing that more and strengthening tendons and things like that. It's good to resistance train, but it's not the only way we can make ourselves strong. You can do it literally by jumping up and down and skipping, which is just like kind of mind blowing. Like you think, what? But it's true.
One of the amazing things that you started is that you are the founder of the Adventure Wellness Club. And I'd love you to share a little bit more about the Adventure Wellness Club, where the idea came from, and what its goals are.
I guess the idea I've had for a long time, I've just sort of had this pull in me, I guess, to like bring people together and share my passion with other people. And that over time has translated into me going, okay, well, let's try. I will say, I think being diagnosed with ADHD and allowing my understanding of myself and how my brain works and my strengths. And yeah, it's just like I've been on this journey of self-confidence. And I think I've just sort of got to the point where it's like, well, just do it, Jennifer, just try it. Because this voice inside going, well, who are you? You're not an expert, you're not a mountain guide. But it's like, actually, you are very experienced in the mountains. You do have a lot to offer, be it within wellness as a yoga teacher or fitness instructor and just mountain enthusiast. So the idea I've had in my head for a long time, like, oh, I'd love to get a bunch of women together and do this. Because for me, nature and pushing myself out of my comfort zone within nature and travel has just built my own confidence so much, over time. And I've actually had people say to me, like other women, like, oh, you're so brave, Jennifer. I remember thinking, like, what? You know, really? Because I didn't see myself that way. And I kind of don't still in some sense. But I've realized like, yeah, actually you are. And you have this courageous heart that can facilitate that same stuff within other women. So part of my idea was like, well, I'd love to do this for women, but then is that excluding? And, then I was like, well, no, just focus on what you're passionate about. I'm a woman. Women are the ones who will tend to seek out more social experiences just by our very design, so yeah. It started a couple of years back. I did my first recce in Abruzzo, which is just east of Rome, into the Apennines there. And I came across this region sort of totally by accident because my niece she's half Italian, she lives near Rome with her family. And it was going to visit her for New Year's one year. My brother and dad came with me. We went together. And then after they went back home, I went to rent a car and drove off into these mountains to just extend, to make the most of the flight out there and, have an adventure. And yeah, I just discovered this region. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a gem. So I was like, okay, maybe this could be where I do a first trip. So that's what it's turned into. I delivered my first one there last year to great success. The idea is that it's small groups of women, doesn't matter age, ability. Yeah, you have to be fit. But I have Mary, she's returning for this trip this summer. She's 68, she'll be probably 69 by then. And, she only started hiking, God, 10 years ago or something like that, she's told me. And yeah, I have a female mountain guide who's just qualified called Laura. So we've been working together. And yeah, it's just, I've taught myself like you can make your idea a reality. I've learned that over and over and over again in my life, but it's like that pushing outside of your own comfort zone. It's like, okay, well, you can go and have a recce for yourself. You can go and rent a car and drive off into mountains. You can go do that yourself. So it's like you can do it for the people. So I've done it. First one is done. So there's the adventure element, the hut to hut hiking, staying under the stars, staying at altitude. But then there's also the wellness element. So I made a personal promise that every trip I run is going to end up with a spa sauna experience, maybe with a dash of yoga thrown in there too. So yeah, it's just that combination, that great reset at the end, because as women we respond so well to heat. and sauna. So I think, it's such a nice way to finish it off and have that little reset before coming back to your normal life.
And one of the things that you've talked about is this psychological study, which is called the 3-day effect. Would you like to share a little bit more about the 3-day effect?
Yeah, basically, it was a study done on people who were suffering with PTSD. And I think they were soldiers or ex-soldiers rather. And they were taken out and camped and, just put into nature, in deep nature for 3 days. And they wore these caps that measured their brain waves. And the study showed that, being disconnected from city life and things and connected to nature, it actually sort of calmed down their nervous system. It changed their brain waves, and they all reported positive psychological benefits after. So just learning about that 3-day effect, I was like, wow, like that's incredible. So the walk I'll do in Italy is 3 days. You're in nature for 3 days. And it's not like we're going to be completely disconnected from technology. Like we'll have mobile phones, we'll have, the ability to take pictures and tell your loved ones at home that you're all right, kind of thing. It's not like there's a ban on it, but it is that immersion in nature and being away from everything. It's so powerful. And we all know deep down at this innate animalistic level that it's healing and powerful. But it's something that, yeah, if you can show that with a study, then it's like, okay, like this is real. This is something that I should do for myself. It's not an option, like constantly living in an urban environment with blue light exposure. The effects will catch up. And that's why I believe that adventure is key to wellness as well.
You mentioned about, getting diagnosed with ADHD, and just how has that sort of impacted you being diagnosed, at a later age? Has it changed the way that maybe that you have judged yourself previously in the past, or has it made things clear about how you make decisions or how your brain works?
It's been tough initially. Well, let me just say, I read an article about what was it, time blindness. And I was like, that sounds a bit like me. Like anything in school, for example, I would do at the last minute, but I would overwork and suffer from perfectionism and procrastination. And I still do. Like, I don't, having a diagnosis doesn't fix you, not that you need to be fixed, but it's like, it definitely allows you to see things through that lens or a different lens and go, and you look at yourself with more compassion because everything I've learned about ADHD, it's not just a focus issue. It's it's a brain body issue. Like it affects everything, the endocrine system, your sleep cycles, like your circadian rhythm, your sensitivity to light, sound, so many things. Like it's not just a focus issue. So one of the things that I did was treat myself like I had ADHD, like I'd received a diagnosis about a year before I was actually diagnosed. And so it wasn't like a huge shock. Like everything I'd learned and the people that I were in my life, turns out they've all got ADHD because like attracts like. They're undiagnosed and think they have it or diagnosed. And yeah, it's like I remember asking one of them, what will a diagnosis change? And to this day, I kind of feel a little bit bad about that because it changes everything. It allows you to be more compassionate towards yourself. Absolutely. And I'll be completely honest, I am trialing medication and, it's been a roller coaster in that regard. Some works, it will work for some people, it won't work for others. I found it's been helping me. My nurse practitioner with whom I speak sort of on a monthly basis, she said she's lovely, and she said, Jennifer, it can actually help with self-esteem because one of the things that ADHDers typically have struggled with all their lives is self-esteem. You know, um, I once had a therapist say to me, this American lady, she said, Jennifer, I hope one day you realize how awesome you are. And I was just like, wow. And I'm starting to realize it because we don't all the time. And everybody struggles with that. But I think once you see yourself in a way, it's like it just helps you so much, and it helps you make sense of people who are your friends and why they're your friends, and being able to say, like, I have ADHD. Oh, can you repeat that? Or just, not that I introduce myself like that to everybody. It's not defining who I am, but it's definitely become an area of interest for me, especially when it comes to like female health, particularly because you have like huge issues with perimenopause and luteal phase. So, there's so many women that they don't just get diagnosed late on because of having children who are diagnosed. The mental health starts to suffer, and they start to think, well, I never felt like this. What the hell's going on? And it just allows you to advocate for yourself better in a healthcare environment, and also, explore things that might help you. And if you don't have that knowledge, that punctum to open you up and go, hey, like, this is all the stuff that can help me. It's like, I'm so grateful for the realization. And it's not like I label myself, but it's definitely helped having a label.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I think it's really useful that we have these conversations, and especially the link with like perimenopause and how that can help sort of like intensify like ADHD symptoms. Like I think there'll be a lot of women who are like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe I do need to go and get checked. And like you said, it's not because you're broken and need to be fixed. It's literally like, no, this is just a part of you, and it's just another way of managing feelings, or what is going on, and how it can, I suppose, how it can help you. Uh,
Mm,
You mentioned that you've got a big birthday coming up, your 40th,
yeah.
which
Oh my God, I know. Mm.
very exciting. One, how are you feeling about turning 40? And two, because it ends in a zero, I think these birthdays where it's your 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th, 70th, etc. It's a real opportunity, I suppose, to reflect on life, and maybe to set some goals, or to, something that you want to achieve during your 40th year. So yeah, how are you feeling about turning 40? And have you got anything planned to help celebrate?
So how am I feeling about turning 40? Well, I'm grateful that I don't have lots of grey hair yet. That's one. Like, I'm sort of wondering, like, when does this really start to kick in? But I don't, obviously I'm happy. How do I feel? Part of me is like coming to be more comfortable with the fact that I don't have children, because I think that's a stick I've beaten myself with in the past. Absolutely. And it's not like I've put out there like I never want them, but it's not something I've really, really tried and wanted for either. So I think now it's just allowing me to be more comfortable with that, how my life is, and and how that, all the space and time I've got, like I can do whatever I want with my next years. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Being 40 in itself, I mean, it's just another day, right? You're really no different. Like my grandma Josie said to me when I was younger, Jennifer, you 21 again. Like she'd write this in every birthday card to me. So I write it now for other people to kind of continue on her memory. But yeah, it's like you're as old as you feel. And I know that's like cliche, but yeah, I think I just want to age as strong as I can for me. Like, I don't mean I want to be superwoman. It's just like, just respect my body, you know, keep pushing it, keep learning what it's capable of, and celebrate with a ski tour in New Zealand. That's the big idea for the 40th. Yeah. So now I've got this marketing job, I can save up to go, because most of my trips abroad and stuff in the past have been, or in like recent years, have been through doing like ski rep work, like going back to the place in Italy where I lived because I know people there. So this is like something big for me and something different. I've never been to New Zealand, so I'm super excited, but it's like such an unknown. So yeah, that's the aim. That is the aim, to go to New Zealand. Woo.
I love it. It's so exciting, and I loved how you shared about turning 40 as well, like, aging strong, respecting your body, keep pushing it as well. Like, I just, I feel very similar as well. As I'm getting older, I just come to realize to be honest, it's such a privilege to age well, to be healthy, to be strong, to be able to move your body, to go on these adventures, and be surrounded with a community of incredible women. And Jennifer, I'd love for you to share, how people can connect with you, where you're most active on social media, how can they follow along with your adventures, and also the Adventure Wellness Club.
I'm on Instagram as Jennifer Doohan. I'm on Instagram as the Adventure Wellness Club, so you can follow me there. And I've also got a website, adventurewellness.club. That's in it's being made at the minute, like slash I'm making it slash it's being made. I've got a little bit of help. So if you go onto it, then it's hopefully going to be in a state that you can sort of get something from it.
Awesome. And Jennifer, I'd love for you to share your final words of advice, final words of wisdom for other women who want to have more adventure in their life. They want to take on more challenges, to push themselves, to step outside their comfort zone. Apart from just do it, what would you like to share?
That you are your own barrier to things. And the thing that you're thinking of doing that seems scary, you know, maybe you have something in mind, maybe you don't, but maybe there's something that you think, oh, I'd love to do that. Follow the thread of that curiosity, please, because it's there for a reason. And by pulling on the threads, you don't know what you'll unravel.
Jennifer, I love that. Thank you so much for coming on the Tough Girl podcast and sharing more about your love for adventure, your ultra running, and the Adventure Wellness Club. And just best of luck with all your future adventures and challenges, and for celebrating your 40th in style.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been lovely to speak to you.
Hey, team, how are you all doing? It is April 2026. Where is the time going? So I thought I'd just give you a little update of what I've been up to. So a couple of weekends ago, I was at Shaft, which is the Sheffield Adventure Film Festival, which happened on the 20th to the 22nd of March. It was actually celebrating 20 years. And at the film festival, there's like 100 films. It's on 5 big screens. It is basically one awesome weekend. The website address is shaft.co.uk. And you probably know, because I've probably been talking about it for a long time, but last year I worked with Jessica from Shimnick's Films, and she helped to edit and put together a film called 10, which was to celebrate 10 years of the Tough Girl podcast and me walking the GR10 across the Pyrenees mountain range. And yeah, super, super exciting. So I submitted the film 10 into the Shaft Film Festival and it got selected, which is amazing. And it was part of a collection of films called Walk Films. And there were 3 other films that all got shown at the same time. So that was Adapt, Tour de Monterosa, 10, and The Oldest Munro Bagger. So the film got shown on the Saturday and the Sunday, which was amazing. I just thought I'd share a little bit about my experience. So I have to say, what is really weird with doing like the podcast, and obviously I have shared a lot of my life on social media and through YouTube and blog posts and Instagram stories, etc. But it's always quite, and I don't know if this is the right word, but like two-dimensional, because there's always like this like barrier, because like people can write comments and stuff and engage by liking, but it's always done with a screen sort of between us, or I'm alone when I get that feedback, just because I'm working from my room or I'm out sort of hiking and walking. So it was really exciting to be at the film festival, but it was also really, really nerve-wracking, like to walk into the cinema to be like, oh my God, this is like a proper cinema. There's like 50, 60 people here watching like my film. And honestly, I started to freak out a little bit. I got to introduce the film, which was amazing. And there was also a member of the Tough Girl tribe there, Lisa. Big shout out to Lisa for being there. She helped like calm me down and give me a couple of big hugs, which was amazing. But when the film like started playing, I had to say I was like sort of watching behind like my hands in the cinema, just like not cringing, that isn't the right word, but just being like, oh my God, I can't believe like there's people around me who are watching something and this is like the real time live reactions. But it was really lovely. I got to speak to a couple of women afterwards, and there was another lady who came up to me and spoke to me who'd actually walked the Tiararoa Trail, but she was behind me, so she could see all my notes that I'd written in the booklets in the huts and stuff. I didn't get a proper chance to chat to you, so if it is you, I'm so sorry that we didn't get a chance to properly chat about the Tiararoa Trail, but it was so lovely that you came up and said hello. And then there was a mother and daughter talking about like wild camping and wanting to go on their first adventure. So that was just really lovely. I just really hope that it's inspired some of the women there watching to think, hold on, what's my next adventure? What am I going to do? Obviously, that's my whole mission, to motivate and inspire women and girls to take on adventures and challenges and step outside their comfort zone and to really live their best life possible. And what was also really cool is Jennifer, who we've spoken to on this episode. Jennifer actually lives in Sheffield, and she very kindly invited me round to dinner on the Saturday. So I got to go round and meet Jennifer face to face, meet a couple of her friends and stuff, and just have some food, like a sort of a buffet sort of setup, which was really lovely. Like, it's always, honestly, it's just amazing to connect with the women that I've interviewed and spoken with, and also just other similar minded people who love running, who love the outdoors, who love challenging themselves, who love sort of pushing themselves. So massive shout out to Jennifer for inviting me. I really, really do appreciate it. But it was, it was really, really wonderful weekend. And if you haven't done so already, like, go and follow Shaft on social media, go visit their website. I think the challenge of this weekend, the weekend that it is on, is also the same weekend that the National Outdoor Expo happens. And there was also another big thing. I think it was like a Yes Tribe festival or a Yes Tribe meetup was happening. But it was really, really fun weekend. I really liked the vibe. It was very sort of community. It's a lot smaller than like the Outdoor National Expo, but also everything was a lot closer together. So yeah, it was really good fun. There was a couple of great speakers there, like Debbie North was there, who's been on the Tough Girl podcast previously. Jo Mosley was there. She had a couple of her books out there as well, which was really great. So yeah, honestly, just had a brilliant time, and obviously amazing to watch the film 10 on a big screen. But if you haven't watched that film yet, then please do go and visit the Tough Girl YouTube channel. It is on there. It's 10 minutes long, hence why the name. I think you'll really enjoy it. But yeah, just thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for all your support. If you'd like to support the mission, then please do visit Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. And all that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, give it your all, give it 110%, get after it, go for it, believe in yourself, because I believe in you. Take care, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.